True love never dies. It transforms into marble and endures forever. In 1631, on the banks of the Yamuna River, Emperor Shah Jahan held the hand of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal as she drew her last breath. In that moment of profound grief, inspiration would be born to create the most extraordinary symbol of love ever built, the Taj Mahal. But this is not just a love story. It is a testament to how the encounter between Islam and ancient Indian civilization created one of the most extraordinary cultural syntheses in human history. The story of Islamic expansion into Mughal India is a rich tapestry woven with threads of conquest, cultural exchange, religious synthesis, and artistic brilliance. When the first Muslim armies crossed the Indus River in the early 8th century, they encountered a land of incredible diversity, ancient wisdom, and sophisticated civilization. What followed was not merely a military conquest, but a remarkable cultural convergence that would shape the subcontinent for centuries to come. The Mughal Empire, established by Babur in 1526, represented the pinnacle of this Indo-Islamic synthesis. Under successive emperors, particularly Akbar the Great, the empire developed a unique administrative and cultural system that blended Persian, Turkish, and Indian elements. Akbar's policy of religious tolerance and his creation of the divine faith exemplified the attempt to bridge different religious traditions. The architectural legacy of this period stands as a testament to this cultural fusion. The Taj Mahal, while being the most famous example, is just one of many monuments that combine Persian and Islamic architectural elements with Indian decorative traditions. The use of geometric patterns, calligraphy, and floral motifs alongside Hindu architectural elements created a unique style that would influence building design for centuries. In the realm of arts and literature, this period saw an unprecedented flowering of creativity. The Mughal court became a center of cultural refinement, where Persian poetry met Indian musical traditions, creating new forms of artistic expression. The development of Urdu as a language, combining Persian and Sanskrit influences, symbolized this cultural synthesis. The famous miniature paintings of the Mughal period, with their blend of Persian techniques and Indian themes, represent another fascinating aspect of this cultural fusion. The administrative system of the Mughal Empire reflected this synthesis as well. While Islamic law formed the basis of governance, local Hindu traditions and customs were often incorporated into the legal framework. The Mansabdari system, which organized the nobility and military, combined Turkish military traditions with Indian administrative practices. This cultural synthesis also had profound effects on religious practice. While Islam maintained its distinct identity, it developed unique characteristics in the Indian context. Sufism, the mystical dimension of Islam, found fertile ground in India, where it often resonated with Hindu Bhakti traditions. This led to the emergence of new spiritual movements and practices that bridged religious boundaries. The Mughal period also saw significant developments in science and technology. The empire's astronomers combined Islamic astronomical knowledge with Indian mathematical traditions. In medicine, Unani, Greek Islamic, medical practices merged with Ayurvedic traditions, creating a rich medical heritage. The legacy of this Indo-Islamic synthesis continues to influence South Asian culture today. From architecture to music, from language to cuisine, the cultural fusion that occurred during the Mughal period has left an indelible mark on the region's identity. The Taj Mahal stands not only as a monument to Shah Jahan's love for Mumtaz Mahal, but as a symbol of one of history's most remarkable cultural encounters. This narrative reminds us that when different civilizations meet, the result can be not just conflict, but also extraordinary creativity and cultural enrichment. The story of Islamic expansion in Mughal India demonstrates how different traditions can merge to create something new and beautiful, transcending their original boundaries while preserving their essential characteristics. Just as the Taj Mahal rose from grief to become an eternal symbol of love and beauty, the Indo-Islamic synthesis that emerged during this period transformed potential conflict into cultural brilliance, leaving us with a legacy that continues to inspire and amaze centuries later. As we journey through the streets of 16th century Agra, a sensory tapestry unfolds, weaving together the essence of one of history's most remarkable empires. The story of the Mughal Empire's construction is not merely a chronicle of conquest, but a narrative of cultural fusion, architectural brilliance, and visionary leadership. In 1526, a charismatic warrior from Central Asia crossed the Khyber Pass with a dream that would reshape the Indian subcontinent. Babur, carrying the legacy of both Genghis Khan and Tamerlane in his blood, brought more than just military prowess to India. He carried with him the sophisticated culture of Samarkand and the literary traditions of Persia. His personal memoirs, the Baburnama, reveal a man of remarkable sensitivity who could compose poetry about the beauty of a flower while planning military campaigns. The streets of early Mughal Agra would have echoed with the sounds of construction as Babur began transforming the city. Persian architects worked alongside Indian craftsmen, creating the first examples of what would become the distinctive Mughal style. The air would have been filled with the dust of construction and the excited chatter of merchants from across Asia, sensing new opportunities in this emerging empire. Under Akbar's reign, the empire reached its philosophical and cultural zenith. Walking through Agra during his time, one would have encountered an extraordinary mix of peoples and ideas. In his court at Fatehpur Sikri, Hindu philosophers debated with Muslim scholars, while Jesuit priests shared European scientific knowledge. The markets bustled with traders speaking dozens of languages, selling everything from Chinese silk to Persian carpets. Akbar's Din-i-Ilahi represented a bold attempt to create a unified spiritual path that would transcend religious differences. The fragrance of incense from both Hindu temples and Muslim mosques would have mingled in the air, symbolic of his vision of religious tolerance. His administrative reforms, particularly the Mansabdari system, created a complex but effective bureaucracy that would serve as the backbone of the empire. The empire reached its architectural pinnacle under Shah Jahan. During his reign, the sounds of chisels on marble would have been constant as armies of craftsmen worked on imperial projects. The Taj Mahal, his masterpiece, employed over 20,000 workers from across Asia. The markets would have been filled with merchants trading in marble from Rajasthan, jade from Central Asia, and precious stones from distant lands. The Mughal Empire was a feast for the senses. The air was heavy with the aroma of saffron, cardamom, and other spices. Merchants called out in Persian, Arabic, and various Indian languages, creating a linguistic symphony. Silk from China rustled alongside cotton from Gujarat, while goldsmiths and jewelers displayed their intricate work. The persistent tapping of stonemasons created a rhythmic backdrop as they transformed marble into delicate jollies, lattice screens. Miniature painters hunched over their works, creating detailed scenes of court life using brushes sometimes containing a single hair. The Mughals transformed the landscape with their charbagh, foregarden design. The sound of water flowing through geometric channels provided relief from the Indian heat, while carefully selected plants created shade and fragrance throughout the seasons. The fusion of styles was evident everywhere. Islamic geometric patterns merged seamlessly with Hindu floral motifs. The play of light through jolly screens created ever-changing patterns on marble floors, while fountains cooled the air in interior courtyards. The empire-building process was marked by an extraordinary synthesis of cultures. Persian domes and arches were adapted to Indian climate and aesthetic sensibilities. Local craftsmen added their traditional decorative elements to Islamic structural forms. Persian remained the court language, but a complex bureaucracy emerged that incorporated both Muslim and Hindu nobles. A new artistic tradition emerged, combining Persian miniature techniques with Indian themes and styles. Music evolved as classical Indian ragas merged with Persian musical traditions. This period of empire building was more than a political process. It was a grand exercise in cultural synthesis that created something entirely new. The Mughal Empire at its height represented a unique civilization that combined the best elements of multiple cultural traditions, creating a legacy that continues to influence South Asian culture today. The story of its construction reminds us that empires are built not just through military conquest, but through the patient work of cultural integration and administrative innovation. The Mughal achievement was to create a framework where different traditions could not just coexist, but actively enrich each other, creating one of history's most remarkable civilizations. The Taj Mahal stands as the supreme embodiment of Mughal cultural synthesis, where Islamic and Indian architectural traditions merged to create something transcendent. Built between 1632 and 1653, this masterpiece represents far more than mere architectural beauty. The Taj Mahal's design follows precise mathematical principles derived from both Islamic geometric traditions and Hindu sacred mathematics. The entire complex is laid out on a square grid, subdivided into smaller squares. The main structure's proportions follow the golden ratio, creating a sense of perfect harmony that speaks to both Islamic and Hindu concepts of divine order. The construction involved revolutionary techniques for its time. The builders developed a scaffolding system of brick that grew with the main structure. The massive marble blocks were lifted using a sophisticated pulley system, while the foundations included wells that could be flooded to maintain structural stability. The craftsmen pioneered new methods of inlay work, combining precious stones with marble in patterns of unprecedented complexity. The Char Bagh foregarden design represents the Islamic concept of paradise, but its execution incorporates Hindu symbolism. The flowing water channels not only cool the air, but represent the celestial rivers of both traditions. The careful selection of plants ensures year-round blooming, creating a living carpet that changes with the seasons. This massive red sandstone complex showcases the evolution of Mughal architecture. Its halls combine the durability of military architecture with the delicacy of palace design. The Diwan-i-Khas, Hall of Private Audience, features a unique blend of Persian columns with Indian brackets. Akbar's purpose-built capital represents the experimental phase of Indo-Islamic architecture. The Buland Darwaza, Victory Gate, combines Persian architectural elements with Hindu decorative details. The complex includes buildings that served both administrative and spiritual functions, reflecting Akbar's vision of unified governance. This grand mosque in Delhi represents the mature phase of Mughal architecture. Its vast courtyard could hold 25,000 worshippers, while its design incorporated local building traditions with Islamic architectural requirements. The evolution of language during the Mughal Empire marked the emergence of Urdu, a new language born from the fusion of Persian vocabulary and Hindi grammar. This linguistic blend reflected the broader cultural synthesis of the empire, where court poetry began incorporating both Persian and Indian metaphors, creating a unique literary tradition that bridged two distinct worlds. In the culinary arts, a remarkable fusion occurred as Persian cooking techniques were applied to Indian ingredients. New dishes emerged that became staples of Mughlai cuisine, such as biryani, which combined Persian rice preparation methods with Indian spices, and kebabs, where Central Asian grilling techniques were adapted to local meats. Korma, another iconic dish, merged Persian cooking methods with Indian dairy products, creating a rich and flavorful dish that became beloved across the empire. Fashion and clothing styles during the Mughal period were a direct reflection of this cultural merger. Menswear blended the Mughal sherwani with the traditional Indian dhoti, while women's clothing incorporated Persian designs into classic Indian garments, creating a look that was both regal and uniquely hybrid. Jewelry designs, too, showcased this cultural synthesis, merging Islamic geometric patterns with Indian floral motifs, symbolizing the empire's diverse influences. The Mughal administrative system was a masterpiece of cultural accommodation. While Persian remained the language of the court, regional administrations utilized local languages to ensure effective governance. The Mansabdari system, which assigned ranks to nobles, successfully incorporated both Muslim and Hindu leaders, fostering unity and cooperation between diverse groups. Tax collection methods combined Islamic principles with existing Indian practices, while local customs were respected and incorporated into governance, allowing for a system that worked for a diverse population. Strategic interfaith marriages played a key role in social integration. Akbar's marriage to Rajput princesses set a precedent, forging alliances across religious lines that helped create new social networks and cultural bridges. The children of these unions often served as cultural intermediaries, blending traditions from both Hindu and Muslim backgrounds. Over time, new social customs emerged, blending the practices of these two great cultures. Religious and philosophical experimentation was also a hallmark of the Mughal period. Sufism found new expressions in the Indian context, while Hindu Bhakti movements influenced Islamic practices, creating a syncretic blend of spiritual ideas. New philosophical movements emerged from this fusion, and translation projects brought ancient Sanskrit texts into Persian, enriching both traditions and promoting cross-cultural intellectual exchange. The visual arts flourished, experiencing unprecedented development under Mughal rule. Miniature painting combined Persian techniques with Indian themes, creating exquisite works that depicted scenes from both cultures. Calligraphy incorporated local decorative elements, while music saw the rise of new forms that blended Persian and Indian traditions, creating a fusion of melodies and rhythms. Textile design merged Islamic geometric patterns with Indian florals, producing stunning fabrics that became renowned throughout the empire. The legacy of this cultural synthesis extends far beyond the Mughal period. Modern South Asian architecture continues to draw inspiration from the fusion of Persian and Indian styles, seen in structures like the Taj Mahal. Contemporary Indian cuisine still reflects this blending of culinary traditions, with dishes that incorporate both Persian and Indian flavors. The Urdu language, a living legacy of this synthesis, remains a significant language of the region. Administrative practices from the Mughal era influenced later systems of governance, while artistic traditions continue to inspire modern creators, keeping the spirit of this cultural fusion alive. The great cultural synthesis of the Mughal period demonstrates how different traditions can combine to create something greater than their individual parts. This legacy remains relevant today, showing how cultural differences can become sources of creativity rather than conflict. The monuments, languages, and customs that emerged from this synthesis continue to enrich global culture, standing as testimony to one of history's most remarkable periods of cultural fusion. The cultural synthesis of the Mughal Empire, though remarkable, was fraught with significant challenges and darker aspects that shaped its trajectory. At the intersection of power, religion, and culture, tensions often arose, revealing the complexities that influenced the empire's rise and eventual decline. One of the major conflicts revolved around religious orthodox opposition. Islamic conservative groups, particularly the ulama, religious scholars, frequently challenged the syncretistic policies of the empire, especially during Akbar's reign. Akbar's attempts at religious reform, including the introduction of the din-i-ilahi, were met with fierce resistance. Many viewed these reforms as heretical, and debates raged over the extent of Islamic law's application within the empire. The pushback was particularly intense during three critical periods: Akbar's religious reforms, Shah Jahan's reversal of tolerant policies, and the reign of Aurangzeb, whose more orthodox stance led to a return to stricter religious practices. Rajput resistance also posed a significant challenge to the Mughal Empire. The Rajput warrior clans, known for their fierce pride, presented a range of obstacles to Mughal expansion and integration. Military resistance to the Mughal conquest was followed by cultural resistance to policies aimed at integrating Rajput traditions into the empire's administrative and social structures. Tensions grew over marriage alliances between Rajput families and the Mughal nobility, and periodic rebellions against Mughal central authority further complicated relations. These tensions manifested in armed conflicts in Rajput strongholds, diplomatic negotiations, cultural accommodation, and at times political betrayals. Another key challenge to the empire was the lack of a clear succession law, which led to frequent disputes over the throne. Notable conflicts include the War of Succession between the sons of Shah Jahan and earlier power struggles between Jahangir and his son. These succession crises weakened administrative stability, creating internal divisions and political uncertainty that threatened the empire's cohesion. Despite the Mughal Empire's overall religious tolerance, religious tensions occasionally erupted. There were instances of temple destructions, particularly during periods of orthodox rule, and discrimination in tax policies that favored certain groups over others. Competing claims to sacred spaces, such as religious sites and shrines, further intensified these conflicts. Religious symbolism in public architecture, used to assert power and dominance, often became a point of contention, reflecting the empire's complex religious landscape. Women, although often marginalized in historical accounts, played crucial behind-the-scenes roles in the Mughal court. Figures like Nur Jahan, who effectively ruled during Jahangir's later years, influenced political appointments, managed diplomatic relations, and played a vital role in art and architecture. Jahara Begum, Shah Jahan's daughter, was another powerful figure, serving as a trusted advisor, managing the imperial household, and patronizing the arts. Other women like Roshanara Begum and Zeba Nissa also held significant political influence, with many queens managing vast estates and making important contributions to the empire's cultural and political legacy. The contributions of the empire's anonymous builders, craftsmen and architects were also fundamental to Mughal success. Though their names were often lost to history, their innovation in construction techniques and artistic styles left a lasting legacy. Their work in stone carving, inlay work, structural engineering, and decorative arts shaped the magnificent Mughal architecture we recognize today. Minority religious communities navigated the complex social dynamics of the empire, contributing to its rich cultural tapestry. Jain communities, influential in finance and trade, preserved their distinct cultural identity, while contributing to architectural developments. Zoroastrian merchants played a crucial role in international trade and the development of urban areas, while maintaining cultural ties with Persia. Christian minorities, particularly Jesuits at court, contributed to the exchange of scientific knowledge, artistic influences, and diplomatic relations with Europe. The vast Mughal Empire faced systemic challenges, particularly in administration. Balancing central and local authority, managing diverse linguistic regions, and maintaining communication networks were constant struggles. Economic pressures, including managing currency, maintaining trade routes, balancing agricultural and urban development, and funding monumental construction projects, added to the complexity of governance. Cultural integration itself faced ongoing challenges, with resistance to change from various groups. Balancing the preservation of distinct cultural identities with the demands of the empire's growing diversity required delicate management. Linguistic diversity, in particular, posed a challenge to unity, as the empire sought to integrate many different languages and cultures under one administrative system. The legacy of these challenges continues to influence modern South Asian society. Debates about religious coexistence, cultural integration, the role of women in politics and society, and the balance between tradition and change all trace their roots back to the tensions and conflicts of the Mughal period. The Mughal experience offers valuable lessons on the importance of inclusive governance, the challenges of managing diversity, the role of women in leadership, and the value of cultural preservation in the face of complex historical dynamics. The story of these tensions and challenges reminds us that great cultural achievements often emerge from complex and sometimes conflicted circumstances. Understanding these challenges provides a more complete picture of the Mughal period and offers insights for managing similar challenges in contemporary societies. The voices of marginalized groups, though often overlooked in traditional histories, played crucial roles in shaping the empire's development. Their stories add depth and nuance to our understanding of this remarkable period in history, reminding us that empire building was not just the work of emperors and nobles, but of countless individuals whose contributions, though often anonymous, were essential to creating one of history's most remarkable civilizations. The legacy of the Mughal Empire resonates deeply through the corridors of time, shaping contemporary South Asian society in profound and lasting ways. This cultural inheritance manifests across multiple dimensions of modern life, from the arts to social structures, creating a rich tapestry that continues to evolve. In the realm of culture, the Hindustani classical music stands as one of the most sophisticated artistic legacies of the Mughal period. This musical tradition blends Persian melodic structures with Indian classical foundations, creating a unique system of ragas and talas that continues to enchant audiences worldwide. The Gharana system, established during the Mughal era, maintains its relevance in modern musical education, preserving ancient techniques through generations of masters and disciples. Indo-Islamic cuisine represents another vibrant cultural inheritance. The royal kitchens of the Mughals gave birth to what we now know as Mughlai cuisine, characterized by rich gravies, aromatic spices, and sophisticated cooking techniques. This culinary tradition has evolved into a global phenomenon, with dishes like biryani, kebabs, and various curries becoming internationally celebrated. The art of slow cooking, the use of aromatic spices, and the concept of communal dining all trace their roots to this period. The syncretic festivals that emerged during the Mughal era continue to bring communities together. Celebrations like Fulwalan Ki Sair in Delhi, where both Hindu and Muslim communities participate, exemplify the enduring spirit of cultural harmony. These festivals serve as living bridges between different religious traditions, fostering social cohesion in modern times. Urdu literature, born from the cultural synthesis of the Mughal period, continues to enrich the literary landscape. This language, combining Persian, Arabic, and local Indian elements, has produced some of South Asia's most celebrated poetry and prose. Modern Urdu literature maintains this tradition of sophisticated expression, addressing contemporary themes while preserving classical forms. In architecture, the Mughal influence remains unmistakable. Modern Indian architecture frequently draws inspiration from Mughal building techniques and aesthetic principles. The use of geometric patterns, the integration of gardens with buildings, and the emphasis on symmetry and proportion continue to influence contemporary architectural design. The Chahar Bagh garden layout, perfected during the Mughal era, inspires modern landscape architecture throughout South Asia. the decorative arts from the Mughal period continue to influence contemporary design. The intricate patterns of Mughal architecture inspire modern textile designs, jewelry, and interior decoration. Traditional crafts like pietra dura inlay work, perfected during the construction of the Taj Mahal, are still practiced by artisan communities, preserving ancient techniques while adapting to modern tastes. Urban planning concepts from the Mughal era inform modern city development. The concept of public spaces, the integration of water features, and the balance between built environment and green spaces reflect principles established during the Mughal period. Many historic Mughal cities continue to function as living urban centers, demonstrating the durability of their original planning principles. The social legacy of the Mughal Empire is equally significant. The tradition of religious diversity and coexistence, though sometimes challenged, remains a fundamental aspect of South Asian society. The administrative systems developed during the Mughal period influenced modern bureaucratic structures. The emphasis on documented record-keeping, hierarchical organization, and systematic revenue collection continues to shape governmental operations. Educational institutions inherit elements from the Mughal system of learning. The tradition of guru-shishya, teacher-student, relationships and arts education, the emphasis on Persian and Arabic scholarship alongside indigenous learning, and the concept of patronage for arts and sciences all reflect Mughal influences. The Mughal legacy in international relations and diplomacy also persists. The sophisticated diplomatic protocols developed during their reign influence modern diplomatic practices in South Asia. The emphasis on ceremonial occasions, gift-giving traditions, and formal protocols in international relations can be traced to Mughal court customs. This enduring impact of the Mughal Empire demonstrates how deeply their cultural synthesis transformed South Asian civilization. Their legacy serves as a reminder that cultural exchange and integration, despite its challenges, can create lasting and meaningful transformations in society. The Mughal period stands as a testament to the power of cultural synthesis to create enduring civilizational achievements that continue to enrich human society centuries later. When Emperor Shah Jahan commissioned the Taj Mahal, he unknowingly created not just a monument to love, but a powerful metaphor for one of history's most remarkable cultural syntheses. The Mughal Empire's story offers profound insights into how civilizations can grow stronger through cultural exchange rather than conflict. The Mughal achievement transcends mere historical interest, speaking directly to our contemporary challenges of globalization and cultural integration. Their success in creating a sophisticated civilization that drew from multiple traditions while respecting their distinct characteristics offers valuable lessons for our increasingly interconnected world. Consider how the Mughals approached cultural integration. Rather than forcing uniformity, they created frameworks where different traditions could flourish while contributing to a greater whole. Akbar's court, where scholars from various faiths engaged in philosophical dialogues, presents a model of intellectual exchange that remains relevant today. His approach to governance, combining Persian administrative efficiency with Indian traditional practices, demonstrates how institutional structures can adapt to embrace diversity. The artistic and architectural achievements of the Mughal period reveal how cultural fusion can drive creative innovation. The Taj Mahal exemplifies this principle. Its perfect synthesis of Persian, Islamic, and Indian elements created something unprecedented in human achievement. This suggests that our greatest creative breakthroughs often occur not in isolation, but at the intersection of different traditions and perspectives. The Mughal approach to religious diversity offers particularly relevant insights for contemporary societies. While maintaining Islam as the state religion, they developed sophisticated mechanisms for accommodating different faiths. Their experience shows that religious identity need not be an obstacle to social cohesion when approached with wisdom and flexibility. Looking at modern challenges through the lens of Mughal experience raises intriguing possibilities. How might their success in creating unifying cultural symbols inform our approach to building inclusive societies? Their architectural achievements demonstrate how public spaces and monuments can serve as bridges between communities, creating shared cultural references that transcend religious and ethnic boundaries. The Mughal emphasis on education and cultural refinement also speaks to contemporary needs. Their patronage of arts and sciences created an environment where knowledge could flourish across cultural boundaries. This suggests the vital role of educational and cultural institutions in fostering social integration and innovation. However, The Mughal experience also warns us about the fragility of cultural synthesis. The later period of their empire shows how easily progress toward integration can be reversed when leaders abandon inclusive policies. This reminds us that maintaining cultural harmony requires constant attention and renewal. The empire's artistic legacy demonstrates how beauty can emerge from the dialogue between traditions. Mughal miniature paintings, combining Persian techniques with Indian themes, show how art can transcend cultural boundaries while respecting distinct traditions. This suggests the vital role of creative expression in building bridges between communities. Looking forward, the Mughal example raises important questions about balancing tradition and innovation in multicultural societies. How can we preserve distinct cultural identities while fostering beneficial exchange? How might we create institutional frameworks that encourage cultural cross-pollination while respecting traditional values? Their experience with urban planning and architecture offers insights into creating spaces that facilitate cultural interaction. The design of Mughal cities, with their public squares, gardens, and monuments, created environments where different communities could interact naturally. This suggests the importance of thoughtful urban design in fostering social integration. The Mughal legacy challenges us to think deeply about leadership in diverse societies. Their most successful rulers combined pragmatic administration with cultural sensitivity and intellectual curiosity. This model of leadership, educated, culturally aware, and capable of bridging different worldviews, seems increasingly relevant in our globalized world. Their approach to language and communication, creating new forms of expression that bridged linguistic traditions, offers insights into handling cultural exchange in the information age. The development of Urdu as a hybrid language suggests how new forms of communication can emerge from cultural contact. Perhaps most importantly, the Mughal experience reminds us that cultural exchange is not a zero-sum game. Their civilization demonstrated how different traditions can enrich each other while maintaining their distinct identities. This perspective offers hope and guidance for societies grappling with questions of identity and integration in an increasingly interconnected world. The enduring legacy of the Mughal Empire thus serves not just as a historical example, but as a source of inspiration and practical wisdom for addressing contemporary challenges of cultural integration and social harmony. Their achievements remind us that human civilization reaches its greatest heights not in isolation, but through the creative synthesis of diverse traditions and perspectives.